Hi, and welcome to the last in my series of podcasts on sacred relationships. Look for me next week when I'll be starting a new series on leadership. Today's podcast is about when it's time to let go. In any sacred relationship, we hope it will last a lifetime. We hope that our partners won't become ill and leave us. We hope that circumstances won't change, but sometimes they do. Whether it's that one partner decides to move in a different direction, or whether we lose them through illness, it does happen. So how do we cope with that kind of transition? This is where Buddhism, I find, to be really helpful. This is where it kicks in. In Buddhism, we learn that the nature of life is impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, nothing sticks around for all time. Everything is in a constant state of change. And I think what that does for a sacred relationship is it causes us to not be complacent. When you've reached my age, you've seen a lot of those changes. I'll be 60 years old in a few months. I've lost friends to disease. I've dealt with illness myself. I've seen solid relationships shift and change. Sometimes they make a couple stronger, sometimes the situation comes apart. If we cling to a relationship, then we become manipulative. We try to control how the other person feels so they won't leave us. And a lot of us, because of what we experience in early childhood, are dealing with abandonment issues. So every big step in our lives, every commitment can also bring up the fear of the what ifs. What if this doesn't work? What if this person leaves me? What if something happens to them? And we can get really stuck in those what ifs and then act out of fear. Sometimes when people do that, they act out of fear by pushing somebody away because they know, wow, if I really let this person in, if I really get close to them, it's going to hurt so much if things fall apart in some way. So they push that person away before things can even go into that beautiful depth where you're really growing and learning and experiencing how deep love can go. So we want to be aware of when we're creating the scenario where we're pushing somebody away, where we're shutting down emotionally because this is getting real. Letting go is letting go of controlling for outcome. Just being with that person we love every day and making the most out of that day without placing too much emphasis on the what ifs. I've seen people with a supposedly very healthy partner, not even particularly old, and they get ill and they're gone. And that's a really hard thing to deal with. But think of all those beautiful moments they had the opportunity to share while they were both still on this planet. Take every day to welcome the opportunities to connect, to grow, to deepen that relationship with your partner. And if you're not with one right now, to deepen the relationship you have with yourself, staying open to that possibility occurring. And then when it does, be aware of whether you're clinging, whether you're trying to make things go a certain way so you won't have to feel loss. We're all going to have loss at some point in our lives. So we can focus on it, which means we're not really present in the moment. We're thinking about the future, or the future we're worried about having. Or we can just be present. We can just wake up and go, oh, how do I fully embrace this moment? How do I fully embrace this opportunity I have right here, right now, to fully connect with my partner, to fully offer everything I have and everything I am to this moment? So what happens if our partner does drop away? What if there is a fundamental change in the relationship that's irreconcilable? It happens. Two people can love each other, work very closely together. Some circumstance occurs to bring them apart. Or we lose a partner through illness and death. What does that mean for our spiritual journey? Does it end there? Not at all. Part of the work we're doing when we're with a partner is we're looking at the qualities they represent to our psyche. What aspects of them do we want to embody? Do we want to allow ourselves to be inspired to find within ourselves? What qualities do they have that trigger our stuff? That, oh, I don't want to see that side of me, but here's my partner presenting it. And now I have to acknowledge that if they're in my life, that part exists in me too. That work continues. In fact, I believe that when a reflection drops away, however they do so, it's because we're now at a point in our spiritual development where we don't need that reflection externalized for us. We can find it inside ourselves. We can look within us and say, okay, that quality, how do I find it? How do I bring it forward now that I don't have that reflection doing that for me? If there was a particular strength or skill your partner had, how do you find that now? Or how do you outsource it if it's a practical skill that you've never mastered? But what you're doing is you're continuing on, and it's on the journey you had with your partner, but you're now looking for those resources internally. You're now looking for, how do I embody all the things about my partner that I admired and all the things that I couldn't accept were part of me? How do I find them now? So that your legacy from the relationship becomes one of continued growth, one of continued development. Now, I'm a big believer in reincarnation. In fact, I was born with past life recall. I have certain past lives that I remember that relate directly to the lessons I came to learn in this lifetime. And some of the people in my life this time around I've been with before. And there have been occasions where we've met and instantly recognized each other and known, both of us, what life we shared together. It's a profound thing when that happens. It just gives you the sense of the continuity of life. So if you've lost a partner, if they've left this life, it doesn't mean you won't connect again. So keep doing the work. Keep developing yourself, knowing that in some way, somehow, there's going to be a reconnect. There's going to be an opportunity, whether you believe that you connect after you leave this life or whether you connect in other lives to come. Consciousness is consciousness. It's energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes form. If we think of life that way, that life is continuous, that when we leave physical form, we continue, then we shouldn't give up. We shouldn't give up on doing the work. We shouldn't give up on our path because something major has caused a shift in it. And I'm not saying don't give yourself time to grieve, time to process all of the emotions that come up when there is a loss. And that is going to come up for you over time, for a very long time. You'll have those moments. Be patient, allow for that process. There's never a need in the grieving process to say to ourselves, I should be done with this by now. It takes its own path. Allow for that. But when you're ready, when you have the energy, contemplate, what is the legacy here? How can I find that energy inside of myself, find the qualities I saw in my partner and bring them forward? And one thing you can do in meditation is imagine that they're in front of you. Ask them questions, ask for advice. In a sense, you are tapping into a reflection of your own consciousness, and they're symbolizing that. But that's what they did in physical life as well. This is a quantum universe. Everything's an illusion. Everybody we meet is a reflection of our own consciousness. So whether we have them in physical form or we have them in our own deepened states of consciousness, that energy exists for us. That awareness exists for us. That energy can continue to support us on our path should we choose to tap into it. So if you can embrace the continuity of life, you can be present in the moment and maybe not worry so much about the moments that are to come, because the only moment in which you can be truly effective, truly present, truly aware is this one. Bring as much love, as much focus, as much connection as you can to the moments that you have with your partner now, so that when one of you leaves this life or parts ways some other way, you continue to grow, continue to take what that opportunity brought you and build yourself from that. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate everybody that has watched and liked the podcast series. If you haven't caught the previous ones, they're all on my YouTube page. I hope you'll check them out. Leave comments in the comments section, questions if you have them. If you are working through, whether it's grief or issues in your relationship, I do work with couples. I do work with people in grief. Feel free to reach out to benitasummers.com. Thank you so much for watching. Look for my next series on leadership starting next week. Bye.